Hello, my name is Monica Flannery, aka Monica Mon. You can find me on Serenity RN on YouTube. So this is just a test playing with my Zoom settings. Seem to be having a little challenging time getting this recorded today. This will be my third attempt. So I did a Dolphin reading with these different cards, and 4 cards jumped out. So the first one is Depths of Silence. So I went into this long spiel in my previous video about how older generations, I'm going to be 60, so back when I was a kid, just to give a little understanding of perhaps the older generation, but we were taught to squelch our voice and listen to our elders, and so for many generations or many years, we learned to just go with the flow and not articulate our expression. It was very much squelched. And now we have like the opposite extreme, right? We're seeing a lot of people communicating how they're feeling, and there's a lot of right and wrong. So learning how to move forward with our communication skills is very critical at this time. There's going to be a lot of information breaking out. Again, the advance in everything, technology, information, and just as a comparison, you know, my generation, when we grew up, we had one TV, it was black and white. We only had like 3 or 4 channels. So information was very limited. We had our books, encyclopedias, and you were very lucky if you had every single one in the set, right? Or you'd have to go to the library and get your information. So when you compare how advanced we've become, it's very fascinating. And now it's like overload of information, so much information. And our biggest challenge is how to digest and find just the information that we need without going into overwhelm, right? Or becoming overreactive. So the next card that came up was Sonar. So dolphins, whales, bats, they work off of sonar, which is a higher sensitivity, frequency, and that's how they communicate. And it's very fascinating because we've been taught to squelch our intuition as well. Never question, right? Authority figures. But now it's like there's so much misinformation, so many opposing facts that are counterintuitive. So we have to really learn to hone in our intuitive guidance and listen to it. So the more that we listen to it, the easier the navigation becomes. So it's a very critical tool that we could be using. The next card that came up was very interesting. So it's Interspecies Relationships. 2020 is a very fascinating year. 2020 is helping us to perfect our vision, right? And how we do that is we're learning that our own opinions, our own beliefs, our own culture, our own experience, which is totally unique for each one of us, and all of our decisions are based on our own experience, but that's quite limited, right? Because we can only use the information that we have from our past experience. So all this dark stuff is coming up, new technologies are coming out. The Pentagon is releasing information that has been suppressed for many years about UFO technology. I'm sure much of our own military is what we've been seeing out there. And this is going to become more prevalent. So this is the year when a lot of technology that could be helping us advance in many ways will be coming out. So it'll be quite fascinating. The next one is stormy weather. So this year has been one for the records, hasn't it? Okay, we started with the COVID, which has had two opposing effects, which is what we're seeing in every area, every structure of our lives. A lot of fear-based information. So we have to learn to move out of fear and more into how can we dissect right where we are in our structures and make more expansive decisions, change policies. We cannot keep doing things the same just because they've always been that way. We are evolving, and it's up to us to do this on a broad spectrum. Each one of us has an opportunity to create and implement change right where we are and update the systems. The systems are breaking down, they're outdated, and we need to bring in more healing potential in every area. Working on our communication, right? Learning to ask the questions and use our voice as an instrument and perfect that in a way where we can cooperate. And we have to leave our judgments, our fears, and all these negatives that block out information. Because when we block information, we're actually blocking access to new ways of improving our lives and our systems. So how can we lead? How can we lead right where we are in a way that opens up a pathway of potential, right? So that we can explore, maybe there's better ways that we can do whatever we're doing. So, one thing I wanted to go into with all this is going to build leading up to the election, which we all know this. So in our little microcosm, wherever that is, and when I moved into the RV, I had limited space, but when the COVID started, we were able to store enough food for 6 months. So these are things that we should really be mindful of and be willing to shift and ready to change, right? And we're learning to work in the present time. If something shifts, we have to shift with it, but we need to make innovative changes without all the restrictions. but yet it needs to be in balance. We're finding the balance point between the extremes. And the only way we can do this is if we all voice how we want to create the structures that we're in. What can we improve so that we can have these connections with our family? Being home with our family, we're reconnecting with ourselves, we're nurturing our inner connections, our networks. So this has been a positive time. And many of us are seeing there's many areas where we've wasted energy and time and money, and we could be doing some things a lot more productive. The um, medical community will be seeing a lot of changes. One of the blocks is that we're not focusing on the holistic picture, right? So we'll be starting to see new technologies that have been around for a long time that actually can help with the healing component. We have surgeries, we can cut out cancers, we can, you know, renew parts, and all these things have hip replacements, but we have to start looking at the whole system and how we heal, because everything's connected. We can't just focus on our own selves, our own ways of doing things, one part at a time. I'm fading in and out here. So this will be a very interesting year. I would suggest looking at what you have in your home environment and make sure you just have enough. And living in the RV, I found you really don't need that much. We had 100 pounds of rice, uh, canned tomatoes. I grew microgreens so that I could have my fresh vegetables, and getting the live nutrients and the energy from the live plants is very um, healing, the healing modality in itself. And getting out in nature, and what is it that will keep us feeling healthy and taking responsibility for our health. It's time now for us to voice what we need in a positive way in cooperation with everyone else, bring these changes and implement them, and so we can update our structures. And what else? And be willing to shift and change. It's not so scary. It can be actually very exciting. So hang in there. And if you need any support, you can reach me at quantumlivinglife.com. That's my blog. Or Serenity RN on YouTube. And I would love to connect. Okay, that's all focus on where we can lead and stay connected. It's an exciting time. We're the ones that we've been waiting for. Our time is now. I see peace and ease every cell of your body, right here, right now.